those that drop by to this stream, I'm going to give a really big size 128, if not 256 warning. If you come in here expecting high-level play, therein lies the problem. Because I've gone on record multiple times and in multiple scenarios that rhythm games just aren't my forte. It hasn't stopped me from playing them on occasions, and it also doesn't stop me from being recommended them. 2-1 Daniel Rotwin. I have one thing to say. I'm so screwed. But yeah, I figure... Yeah. I was talking with him earlier today, well, actually, earlier in the week, sorry, about something to play on stream, and he's like, well, Project OutFox's Serenity Volume 1 came out. You could demo that if you wanted to. And I'm like, okay, sure, why not? I didn't really have any other plans. Then, like, pretty much the same day, if not the next, I found out that Make a Good 48-Hour Mega Man level finally released, so I'm like, oh crap. But I already made a promise. So, yeah, we're getting OutFox. Next week, chances are, will be 24-hour. But for now, at least, I'm screwed. I genuinely mean that. Like, I am not good at rhythm games. And expecting me to be decent at rhythm games is like expecting me to. It's like expecting a wrestler to have enough mental fortitude to pass a surgical exam. That's putting it lightly. Oh gods. Yeah. Okay. I did a bit too much flailing. But I made it to the halfway point. That's still not too bad. Just... I think I've slowly started to realize over time that when it comes to certain types of games, specifically because of my, let's call it finicky nature, it's fairly difficult for me to actually do decently well with them. Rhythm games are one of them. Specifically because they're a type of game that require a lot of pinpoint precise inputs. And only one solution. And that is hit buttons. I'm not good at it. I'm not necessarily great at perfect timing. Which itself is ironic, because I end up playing characters in games that specialize in defensive play. Oh, crap. But yeah, usually my specialty is more with action games, dungeon crawlers, that type of stuff. In terms of something like this, I'm just permanently at penalty, specifically because of several reasons, one of which being my generally finicky nature. I do a lot of meddling with my buttons, especially when I'm not supposed to be. And someone might come into this arguing that, hey, you're actually decent at Danmaku. Why are you not doing well at this? Just think of it like a Danmaku. That's the problem, though. Like, one, fundamentally, this is not a Danmaku. This is a rhythm game. It's a completely different genre. It requires completely different skills. You need to have crackerjack timing and reflexes, whilst with the Danmaku, it's actually the opposite, where it's more about staying calm in the face of an oncoming threat and being able to barely dodge it. Here, barely dodging means a miss. Barely dodging a note barely hitting a note isn't going to give you a decent reward, specifically because of the fundamentals of how these games work. You're meant to be hitting notes with as perfect timing as humanely possible. Specifically so you can build stamina and be able to tank through some of the harder patterns later. Unfortunately, this also means that with Rhythm Game, they could spam out more notes at you than you can actually react to, in some cases. The average player isn't going to have... Actually, no. In some cases, the average player is going to struggle with this type of thing. I think Broken at 8 is going to be a better challenge for me. I've done a couple songs just as a gauger to make sure that this worked, to make sure that this properly was showing up on stream and whatnot. And at that, to also test a couple other things as well, among which including a controller. Because me, I can play with a keyboard, but it's gonna be a bit of a flail fest for me. Specifically because, well, among other things, arthritis, but... Okay, good. Crap. I also panic fairly easily, so that also doesn't help. So more often than not, if I see something that's going to get panic out of me, then chances are I'm just gonna be flailing buttons. And fundamentally, that's not going to help. If anything, that's just going to result in a miss. Okay, not bad. Not great either, but hey, that's a song cleared. That I could tell at least, 7 and 8 tend to be doable for me, though, as you can tell here, true, it's doable, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna be great at it. Oh, and I also didn't mention, but this particular song, artist Matsuke, but you might have noticed at the very beginning, Daniel Rotwin's name came up. Essentially, one of the things that he does, not just for, isn't just Zups. He's been working on the side with Project OutFox for a while, specifically to bug fix songs and recalibrate stuff. No. Just no. I can already tell with that BPM that is going to be far out of my skill set. Good so far. As for what exactly this game is, I didn't exactly mention it. And that's actually fairly rude of me, because this project has been going for quite a while. This is Project OutFox. Shit. What you would like to do defending yourself has a place in all of this. Many people compare this to... crap. Crap. Oh, really? What? That was at, like, the very end. No, it wasn't. Never mind. I'm eating foot. Okay. Explaining quick. Project OutFox. If you've heard of something called Stepmania on PC, this giant thing that gets emulated and passed around a lot, it should be fairly well versed in terms of not just standard rage game, but also for the quintessential rhythm game. Here's the thing about that. One of the big teams behind it, if not several of the big teams behind it, were completely sick and tired of being lambasted for trying to constantly build the game as opposed to reverting to a previous build that was known to work and that people seem to like. So they decided, you know what, we're axing this entire thing, we're gonna do our own thing, and thus Project OutFox. This has led to a bunch of scenarios where people are still, unfortunately, lambasting this team for going out and doing their own thing as opposed to trying to make Stepmania work. And on top of that, there are also issues that I've also researched. There are many comparisons that people draw to Stepmania to the point that some people go out of their way to say that this is Stepmania, when it's not, fundamentally. And just to take a break from the song quick, so I can show off one of the big differences. Is game type. Normal Stepmania usually supports only a few different sets. There's the dance mode, pump mode, techno, I believe, but OutFox has been going out of their way to incorporate various other types of rhythm games as well, and various other types of playstyles. So you get things that wouldn't normally be here, such as something that's more Guitar Hero-esque, something that's taiko drum, more comparable to the taiko drums, something that would require an actual keyboard set, etc., ad nauseam. This is comparing OutFox to Stepmania that I've seen is like comparing bees to hornets. They look similar to one another. Sometimes they do the same thing, but they are definitely not. And at that, trying to call a bee a hornet and trying to call a hornet a bee is a malaproper. Oh shit, I accidentally hit the 14. No! That's a mistake. That's a mistake. Time to die. Yep, time to die. That was just me flailing buttons. What more time has Nauseum? I'm not good at rhythm games. Expecting me to be decent at them is like, I don't know, expecting a snowball not to melt in hell. Simply put, it's not gonna happen. That snowball's gonna melt in at least a few seconds. The only difference is, here, I actually managed to keep my composure some. Keep my composure. Yes, I see the man on the back with the baton, waving it around. I think that's 3 time. I think that's 3.5. I don't know, and I don't care. Does this look like a musical instrument that's in my hand? No, last I checked, the controller can make music. You don't want it to. Unless it has a speaker. The different colored notes that appear at the top each technically have their own gimmick to them. There's a reason why they're differently colored. Red is a standard on beat, essentially meaning that it's to the BPM of music. Blue, however, means that it's an off. Offbeat means that the note that you're being given is happening at the, well, technically approximately double, if I remember correctly. Approximately double, I think it was, the BPM. Shit. Ah. If I remember correctly, it's like double the BPM, which technically counts as half as well. Regardless, blue notes mean that it's happening as an offbeat, which is the complete opposite, which is essentially the complete, I don't know how to explain it. It's like, picture a sinusoidal curve, where rises, heads to normal, falls, heads to normal. An on-beat would be the rise, the off-beat would be the neutral, if that makes sense. Actually, no, sorry. On-beat would be the neutral, and off-beat would be the total peak or total trough. So, absolute maximum or absolute minimum of the sinusoidal curve. If that makes sense. It's essentially the same timing, only pushed forward a little bit. In a rhythm game, in the standard rhythm game, especially Beatmania, you're often presented not just on beats, but also off beats. This leads to a whole bunch of techniques that you need to be able to perform in order to get through songs. This leads to deceptive patterns that the creators can throw at you. Bad. Not great. Oh, come on, I hit the button! I'll take it. Good. It's always that one note that I keep fumbling. Gah. I mean, that was better. Try again. Ah, crap. I hit start too many times. Alright, me. Let's try this again. the average rhythm game has at least a few different variants of notes. As I mentioned, on beats, off beats. This song in particular has a lot of holds. Essentially, game tasks you to not just hit a button, but also hold it down for an extended period of time. Some rhythm games are fairly unforgiving with their holds. OutFox does give you a bit of a concession. If you accidentally let go of a beat while you're trying to hold it down, then you have a short window in which you can smash the button again to try and perpetuate the beat. That was a pretty short hold. Okay, so I think I'm just not hitting the minimum score requirement. That's why I'm not passing the song. Because I am missing a lot of beats. Like I said, I'm not great at rhythm games. But here's the thing. I recognize my issue. But I'm also willing to learn. Always willing to learn. Always willing to improve. Failure doesn't really affect me all that much, in terms of gaming, rather. Specifically because of my weird mindset. Not bad. Good. Okay, I'm improving. Good. Better. I'll take a D. I'll take a D. I thought that was the end of the song. It just felt like it. But, as you can see, I'm learning. I'm getting better. I'm moving on.